Hello, Soberinos, and welcome to this week's Friday Fix. There's been a couple of conversations recently about what happens to your friendship groups when you stop drinking. And this is a very common issue that crops up time and time again. So today's Friday Fix, I'm going to be exploring that question. What do we do about friendship groups when we stop drinking? What happens to our friends when we stop drinking? So I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about my experience, and then I'm going to give you 3 tips, 3 things you can do when you stop drinking regarding the whole friendship issue. What happened to me was that I realised when I stopped drinking that most of my socialising, in fact, 99% of my socialising, was usually done in the evenings. It involved copious amounts of alcohol, and the people I was hanging around with, I now realise, wouldn't have been naturally my choice of people to hang around with. But I was driven by drink. So I was hanging around with my boyfriend's friends. I was going to events, social events, pubs, gigs, all sorts of events, parties that I was going to, where I had either very little in common with the people I was socialising with, or nothing in common with the people I was socialising with. And what I realised when I'd stopped drinking and I looked back on my friendship groups and the social events I used to go to, what I realised was that it was all about the drinking. That was the only thing that was holding us together. It was all about the drinking. And what the drink specifically did for me is it enabled me to relate to people and to kind of be one of the crowd and to fit in and to pretend to be someone else almost. I think perhaps for me it was a mixture of partly pretending to be someone else so that I would fit in, and also partly over exaggerating and emphasizing some pre-existing parts of myself. So it wasn't that I was being completely someone else or completely someone different. It was that there were natural aspects of my personality that I was really emphasizing and bringing to the forefront when I was drinking, and the drink allowed me to do that. So I do have a kind of mischievous, sociable side of me where I like to have a laugh. I like to take the mickey, and I like to see the fun in things. And I guess that was one of the sides of me that alcohol used to bring out. But alcohol used to bring it out in such a way that it went too far. So I think for me, what drinking did was it enabled me to socialise with people I wouldn't have naturally been drawn to. And it enabled me to socialise in the evenings and at night, which wasn't really naturally my time of day. My time of day, as I've discovered since I've stopped drinking, is the daytime. I'm a morning person. I like to get up when I wake up, and I like to crack on with the day, and I like to get things done. But let me go back to the point about friendship groups and my experience. So I realised that 99% of my friendship groups and the people in fact, I wouldn't even call them friendship groups now. They were just people I drank with. There was a group of people I can particularly think about in a place we used to live. I used to go to the pub with them every Friday afternoon. Didn't know them that well. We used to get together. We used to have a laugh. We used to get together the next day. We used to commiserate over our hangovers. We used to have hair of the dog together. We used to laugh about the incidents the night before, and that kind of shared fuckery that we used to get up to when we were drinking. We used to do all of that, and that was it. That was the sum total of our bonding, of our connection. Even when I think about my relationship with my brother, whenever I didn't used to see my brother that often, but when I did see my brother, our whole relationship was built around drinking. and being hungover together. That is what we did. We used to drink, we used to get raucous, we used to have a laugh, we used to do stupid things, and then we used to wake up with awful hangovers, to the point that we would feel like we just couldn't function. And that would almost become a bonding experience, that we would bond through the misery of our hangovers. And I can honestly say that one of my biggest challenges when I stopped drinking was what I was going to do when I saw my brother. How was I going to interact with him? What kind of relationship would we have? Because he was going to want to drink and I was going to want to stay sober, and I didn't know how that was going to look. As it's turned out, I have learnt that it is completely possible to be around my brother and to enjoy being around my brother when I'm sober. It was just a learning process I had to go through. What I've also discovered is that I am naturally drawn to certain types of people, and that's okay. And in exploring this kind of new relationship with myself sober, I've discovered more and more about myself, and I've discovered the kind of people I like to spend time with and the kind of people I don't like to spend time with. So what's happened for me since I've not been drinking is that I spend more time with people that I naturally want to spend time with, who I naturally feel drawn to, who I feel stimulated by, who add to my energy levels instead of draining my energy levels. And I spend more time socializing with people during the day and doing daytime things and doing activities with people, even if it's going to meet someone for coffee in the morning, even if it's going to have lunch with someone, even if it's going for a dog walk with someone. There are all sorts of things that I do now during the day, going for adventures and walks with people and exploring things with people during the day. In fact, interestingly, a couple of weekends ago, I went and did a sleepover with my sisters. And that was something in the past that would have that would have only been possible for me if I'd been drinking. And yet we had an amazing day. We went for a really long walk. We went for a stroll around the town. We went into some shops. We had lots of funny conversations. We cooked an amazing meal together. We did all of this lovely bonding stuff, all completely sober. So I think what happens is with friendships is that you do leave behind the friendships that were only centered around alcohol. Because you're not drinking, there's not going to be any reason for you to engage with those friendships. If all of that friendship is centered around alcohol, there's no reason for you to engage with that anymore. And if those people aren't coming with you on your journey, if they're not doing a similar thing and they're not kind of joining you on the journey, you're going to have less and less reason to actually associate with those people. So it is quite a natural thing that those friendships fall away. I have completely stopped seeing 99% of the people that I used to see when I was drinking. I just don't see them anymore. And if I do, it's usually a meeting by accident and it's a quick hello and a quick goodbye. I have nothing in common with those people anymore. So some of your friendships will naturally tail off and will disappear because they're not coming with you on your journey. They're not in the same space as you, and they're not perhaps ready to do that yet. But the other thing that happens is because you are getting to know yourself better, you're getting to build a different kind of relationship with yourself now that you're living life sober, is you start to learn more about yourself. You start to get engaged in other activities than drinking. And in the process of doing that, you kind of naturally meet other people who have a similar mindset to you or who are interested in similar things to you. So yes, whilst some of your existing or old friendship groups might fade away, at the same time you allow room and you allow space for newer, healthier and kind of happier friendship groups to come into your life. So the 3 tips that I want to give you in today's Friday Fix for around what to do when you first stop drinking and you're worried about what's happening with your friendship groups. First, I'm going to limit it to 3 actually, because there are more, but I'm going to limit it to 3. The first one is to actually find something that's going to give you a focus, that's going to engage you when you are spending time on your own, because you are going to be spending some time on your own. You're not going to be going out drinking in the same way that you used to do with all your old friends. You are more than likely going to be spending some time on your own at home. And it's really important when you're doing that, that you can have something to focus on, have something to engage you, have some goals, have some targets, have a diary with some plans in it that you can tick off each time you complete something, that you have something to distract you from thinking about drinking. Have some activity that you can do home alone that's going to keep you engaged and keep you interested and keep you focused. So that's the first tip. And that could be anything. I mean, it depends what kind of thing you're interested in. It could be something around health and fitness. It could be something around art. It could be something around writing. It could be something around creating. It could be something around sport. It could be something around quizzes and words. Whatever, puzzles. It could be anything at all. It could be creating something, dressmaking, whatever, walking. It could be something that just keeps you well and keeps you healthy and keeps you focused, and something that you can set yourself little goals around. So that's tip number 1, is find something that you can do when you're home alone, because you will be home alone some of the time. Tip number 2 is to do some research in your local area. If you think back to when you were a child, because when we're children, we are more authentically our true selves than when we're adults and our lives have been consumed by alcohol and other things. And when you think back to when you were a child, there were certain things that you were naturally interested in, or certain things that you naturally used to enjoy doing. So you can think back to the kinds of things that interested you when you were a child, and you can do some research in your local area as to what's going on that might be of interest to you. There might be clubs, there might be groups, there might be activities, it might be to do with sports, anything at all. Might be to do with volunteering. You want to give a couple of hours a week or even a couple of days a week to something, to a cause that you're passionate about. But tip number 2 is to do some research in your local area. Find out what's going on that's going to put you face to face in front of other people and connect you with other people who might have similar interests to you or a similar mindset to you. Tip number 3 is to think about this whole process of getting sober and learning to live your life sober as exactly that. It's a learning process. And in the early days, the first few months, maybe even the first year or 2, it's really about learning to develop a healthier relationship with yourself. And in doing so, you're learning more about you. You're learning what kind of person you are, what you like, what you don't like, the kind of people you get along with, the kind of people you don't get along with. And in going through that learning process and building a better relationship with you, you are naturally going to start exploring new things, having new adventures, doing different things with your time. It's more likely that you will be doing more things in the daytime and perhaps doing less in the evenings. Or if you are still doing things in the evenings, you'll be finding different activities to do, healthier and more productive activities to do than just going to a bar and drinking or sitting in front of your TV at home and drinking. You'll be finding other things to do with your time. And as you're exploring this new version of you and getting to know this new version of you better and better, you will be finding things to do that stimulate you, that you enjoy, that engage you and interest you. And as you do that, you will meet more like-minded people. So it's likely that you are going to meet people that stimulate you and interest you as you're discovering more about yourself. And so you're going to make new friendship groups. You are going to meet new people, and you're going to invite new people into your life where there's a space, because some of the old people have dropped away. So yes, absolutely, to conclude my ramblings for today, absolutely, you will lose some of your old friendship group if those friendships were centered around drinking as the main activity. Or if some of those friends are willing and able, they will come with you on your journey, and you will learn a different way of being with those people, like I did with my brother. I've learned a different way of being with him that's equally as enjoyable. It's just different. And you will make room for new activities, new interests, and new stimulating, healthy, and helpful relationships that will come into your life as you're gradually blossoming and growing into this new version of you. So I hope that adds to the discussion about friendship groups. Do let me know your thoughts and your responses in the comments below. I'll look forward to catching up with you in tomorrow's Saturday Share. But in the meantime, let's go get sober together. Bye for now.